A winter resort town near Aspen is at the center of a growing controversy tonight. The owner of a longtime dog sledding operation in Snowmass Village is facing animal cruelty charges. Some are questioning why his business is allowed to operate on town-owned land despite decades of criticism over the treatment of its 250 dogs. 9 Wants to Know investigator Will Ripley traveled to Pitkin County for answers.
Every day for weeks now, you've been emailing us about this business, asking us to look into their practices. What we found in Snowmass Village is a town divided over the treatment of animals at what is billed as the largest dog sledding operation in North America. A warning, you're about to hear some very graphic information that some viewers may find disturbing.
Oh, good dogs!
The life of a sled dog racing through the wilderness.
They are definitely professional athletes.
Highly trained and specially bred, the dogs of Krablunik in Snowmass Village spend countless hours on these trails. What's the difference between a sled dog and a house dog?
These are undomesticated dogs.
Kennel manager Dan Phillips says the animals are at their best in the frigid cold, between 20 below and 20 above. They spend nearly all their lives outside.
The longer they run, the better they get.
Krablunik owner Dan McKeachin has been breeding sled dogs for 44 years.
It's a labor of love.
McKeachin says they're always chained to their kennels to prevent them from fighting each other. He says a common cause of death for the dogs is cancer.
So a lot of the dogs have had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have to euthanize them when they have cancer?
We shouldn't go there.
Can't go there. So you can't say how, or can you address what you do with the dogs once they die? Can you talk about that?
No.
Okay.
He won't talk about it because McKeachin was widely criticized in 2005 for his longtime practice of shooting sick dogs and dumping them in a pit on the property.
We had an area called Death Row, the projects.
Harry Portland spent 9 years working at Krablunik.
And what Dan did was took the dogs and held them down with his foot on this choker chain and shot them with one hand with a .22.
He says workers threw the dying dogs into a pit full of feces.
I still lose sleep over it.
Portland went public, but was shocked to learn that shooting and dumping dogs is legal under Colorado law. Facing international criticism at the time, McKeachin promised to change his practices.
Reports of abuse documented.
Bill Fabricini is co-founder of Voices for the Krablunik Dogs. His group was outraged when just 1 year after the dog shooting controversy, Snowmass Village signed a business deal with McKeachin.
This is a very unethical lease.
Krablunik pays just $10 a year to lease land owned by the town. The deal is good until 2026, costing McKeachin $200 over 20 years. The cost of just one adult sled ride is $285.
And they don't do anything to pull the lease. They just allow it to continue.
State records show McKeachin served 1 year of probation in 1988 for breaking the bones in a dog's face. Krablunik failed a 2008 state inspection because of a repeat critical violation, with some dogs needing veterinary care.
Dogs just waste away.
Former 5-year Krablunik employee Curtis Hungate went to the police, claiming a dog named Fernando froze to death in 2011.
And basically this all boils down to care is not a part of the bottom line.
Prosecutors won't comment, citing an open criminal investigation. Court records show they served a search warrant at Krablunik last month, charging McKeachin with 8 counts of animal cruelty.
But I know Dan loves his animals.
The mayor of Snowmass Village, Bill Bueno, is defending McKeachin and his business.
A number of the people in Snowmass Village do believe it's a quality amenity.
The mayor is on a family trip out of state, so 9 Wants to Know reached him by phone. He says right now there are no plans to break that 20-year lease.
We have an arrangement, and I need to honor that arrangement.
The Voices for the Krablunik Dogs Facebook page has close to 1,500 likes in a town of fewer than 3,000 people. Bueno questions the real motivation behind the social media blitz.
Seems like this came down when a fellow was trying to buy it and he couldn't make it work.
That fellow is Guy Courtney, Krablunik's former general manager for the last 4 years.
I wanted to buy Krablunik for the benefit of the dogs.
Court documents filed last week by McKeachin's lawyer say Courtney only began publicly alleging animal abuse and neglect when the sale fell through.
How do you respond to the claims that this is just a smear campaign?
I think that's absurd.
In 1974, Stuart Mace gave McEachin his sled dog business. The gift came with a promise to carry on the tradition of loving and caring for the dogs.
It makes me very sad.
Mace's daughter believes that promise was broken.
From a very noble business with noble animals and well cared for animals to a factory of funky looking dogs not being taken care of.
During our visit to Krabloonik, we saw one dog with an open sore, others with ribs showing. But overall, the dogs we were shown appeared healthy.
Are these animals being abused and neglected?
No, not at all.
Employees were told not to answer any questions about the criminal charges or past allegations of abuse. McEachin did have this to say about his critics.
Perhaps they don't have the education to understand what is really going on here.
We'll go next time. Let's go next time.
That question, what is really going on here, is dividing Snowmass Village. At the center of the controversy, 250 dogs who just want to run. State animal inspectors have questioned whether the dogs at Krabloonik are being adequately fed. The owner says his dogs are professional athletes and they need to maintain a certain weight. He is still awaiting trial on those 8 misdemeanor counts of animal cruelty. Will Ripley, 9 News.